come get the camera.
Good evening, family.
Good evening.
I am Baum-Gardner. How many of you are familiar with the typewriter?
Oh, yes, of course.
Well, I am here to inform you today about the typewriter. I have selected this topic because I do not know much about the typewriter. Because I am a millennial, I have only used a computer and only know what a computer is. I will be discussing the history of creating the first typewriter, how the typewriter works, and how the typewriter changed society. My references include mytypewriter.com, bizfluent.com, jdaily.org, and smithsonianeducation.org. Let's start with the invention of this first typewriter. Before the first ever successful typewriter was invented, there were more than 100 prototype models and over 50 inventors. The breakthrough came in 1867 when Christopher Sholes, Carlos Glidden, and Samuel W. Soule invented their first typewriter. This prototype is still conserved in the Smithsonian today. In the late 1880s is when the typewriter began to boom. And this is when two entrepreneurs purchased Sholes patents for $12,000. The Sholes and Glidden typewriter wrote in capital letters only. Typewriters used to be $125, and for that price, no one was really interested in purchasing one. The first typewriter ever invented was extremely difficult for people to type in a speedy way due to the mechanical imperfections. Mark Twain, being one of the first people to buy a typewriter, can attest to this. He later regretted making this purchase. To convince people to practice writing on a typewriter, promoters would give one to several hundred businesses for them to practice on. The promoters believed by them practicing, they would agree that time was being saved by not having to handwrite things. Eventually, model number 2 was created, and it was reliable and efficient. The number 2 model is where the shift key was invented, allowing people to type in both upper and lowercase letters. It took almost a decade for this model to become successful, and then the typewriting business would be on their way. Before 1890, there had been 3 distinct classes of typewriters invented, each of which lacked the vile quality of visibility, allowing the operator to see which character is being typed. Individuals believed that there should be a way for them to see what they were typing without having to lift the platen. Let's move on to how to correctly use a typewriter. Royal typewriters are what we are used to seeing. We see these on the logos of authors, screenwriters, and publishing houses. These were used in businesses and schools for years, before being replaced by the electric models. So as you all probably know, typing on a royal typewriter is more difficult than typing on a computer monitor. When using a typewriter, the letters are put on a sheet of paper, and fixing errors can be difficult. When using a typewriter, the ribbon has to be thread or the print wheel cartridge has to be dropped in. The manual royal typewriter uses ribbon threads on 2 spots. The first spool is attached to the typewriter, and the ribbon is threaded through numerous slot holders. And the second spool is set in place on the opposite side of the cartridge. Behind the carriage roller, there is a bar that has sliders on it. This is used to set the page margins and tabs. After that, lift the bar, and there will be 3 small rollers in the carriage. Now you're halfway there. Insert a piece of paper behind the roller carriage, and the knobs at the end of the carriage are going to be used to roll the paper into the machine. And this is when you will begin typing. Well, not yet. First, you have to secure the paper and slide the bar with the small rollers back into place. And now you begin typing. Once you have reached the end of the line, a bell will go off. And this is an indication to move your paper back to where you started. There is a bar that you will use to move the paper back to the appropriate point to start a new line of text, and then you will continue this until the document is finished. Finally, how the typewriter changed society. The invention of the typewriter changed the world. With the typewriter, more correspondence will be finished in a day than it would take a half a dozen clerks to do with the pen. Compared to a pen, the typewriter saved 40 minutes out of an hour. According to my references, the typewriter saved so much time and went from selling 1,400 typewriters in 1882 to selling 14,000 in 1887. The typewriter also allowed for businesses to hire women for clerical work. My references suggested by 1890, nearly 45,000 women were typists. And it is said that they got paid as much or more as teachers, which was the main professional job to women at the time. Women saw these jobs as an escape from the factory jobs because it was a cleaner, high-paying job. The typewriter also increased accuracy in writing diplomatic documents. Authors tended to use them to write more quickly. Are there any questions? Okay. The typewriter was the best invention during the 1880s. It was faster than writing, it created more job openings for women, and it allowed women to make more money. This invention also paved the way for newer technology like the computer, cell phone, and tablet. Thank you.